screams at her, he yells at her, "You never listen to me, you don't love me."
Jordan's primary issue he had was Ashley was not having sex with him.
The proof will show that there was physical abuse in the marriage, mental abuse. You're worth nothing.
A military marriage ends in a deadly shooting, but who was the real abuser? Defendant Jordan Henning may be taking the stand today. And the defendant in the celebrity hairstylist murder trial will be returning to the hot seat today for more cross-examination. That's right, Robert Baker, co-defendant of Monica Sementilli and her former lover. How is he affecting her fight for freedom? Also this hour, the person of interest in Sudiksha Konaki's disappearance continues to be grilled by investigators. So how long will the young man who is not a suspect be detained? Plus, the fundraiser for accused killer Luigi Mangione is nearing $1 million. How the public support could be tipping the scales of justice. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Monday morning to you, and happy St. Patrick's Day as well. Welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Are you ready for some coffee and some court? It's that time of the morning. Grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, what's a video worth? If you ask me, the home surveillance video in the military wife murder trial makes the case against Jordan Henning. When I watched it, I didn't see a sudden snapping and then a fast shooting. No, I see tension building and building and building over the course of the fight, where Jordan Henning seemed to not want to stop. We see Ashley Henning in the video trying to get away from him, walking up the stairs, trying to de-escalate the argument, but Jordan pursues her. And Ashley wasn't the only one who tried to de-escalate the situation. Their own child tried as well, and so did their neighbor. But Jordan seemed determined to keep it up. The video is the best evidence of that. It is horrific. He shoots his wife and the mother of his 3 children multiple times. And then he goes and he reloads his gun. And then he comes back and he shoots her again. And then he's not done. He spits on her before he's done. To me, what I saw in that video was so terrifying, so violent, so ugly, and so heartbreaking. I couldn't stop thinking about it over the weekend. I couldn't shake it. And I bet the jury was thinking about it all weekend too. You know, we have word that Jordan Henning might be taking the stand today. And if he does, my friends, I've got to tell you, I don't know if there's anything he can possibly say that will say as much as that video did. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
When I went outside, he was curled up in a ball by the telephone pole, bleeding profusely. I called 911 immediately.
What's your estimate of how long it took for law enforcement to respond?
Only a couple of minutes. It was very fast.
Short day in court in New Hampshire is expected. Testimony resuming in the bad blood shooting trial. Court starts up at 10 a.m. Eastern time. In Kentucky, we're waiting to see whether Jordan Henning will take the stand in the military wife murder trial. That case is going to start up at 9 a.m. We will go in there together when it begins. And in California, we've got Monica Sementilli's lover, Robert Baker, returning to the witness stand. This ought to get even more interesting than it already is. And that is our top story for you this morning. Baker back for day number 3. This guy maintains that his love, Monica, had nothing to do with her husband, Fabio Sementilli's murder. Baker was cross-examined on Friday, and things got pretty tense between him and the attorney.
Would you agree with me your letter was ridiculous?
I agree.
Would you agree with me that your testimony here today was also ridiculous?
Sustained.
Do the two of you engage in various sex acts right here in the disgusting, filthy lockup behind this courtroom? Sorry.
I think they had us separated the whole time, so no.
You didn't engage in any sex acts?
We're separated the whole time, no.
Do you consider masturbation to be a sex act?
No.
Oh, okay. You have repeatedly changed your story to fit the evidence in this case, correct?
Are you asking me or are you telling me what to say?
Your Honor.
Well, this guy's a character, isn't he? Remember, not just a racquetball coach, also former porn star. He's also a registered sex offender. There's that. He's really something. Got kicked out of the military. Should we believe him? That's the bottom line. Is he telling the truth that Monica had nothing to do with it? Let's bring in our legal eagles, two very high-profile attorneys on the program this Monday morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day to Tommy Pope and Mario Gallucci. Good morning to you both. All right, so let's talk about this guy, Robert Baker. What a piece of work he is. Mario, tell me, what are you thinking about him as you watch him? Do you believe this guy?
I actually do believe him. He took a deal with life without parole. He's made no agreement with the prosecutor, and he's telling the truth. He told exactly, if you recall, he described in detail how they planned the murder, how with I believe it was Mr. Austin, and they tried it one time, and then Austin backed out. And then Baker said that he would take over and he would do it, and how they planned it. They went to the house, how they took the Porsche. So, he's been going through detail after detail after detail about how he wanted to take out Fabio. So I believe he's telling the truth.
Yeah, Mario, so definitely he did this. I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind that he did this. He's a savage, this guy. But did Monica really not know? That's where I have a really hard time thinking that she had no idea. I mean, this guy, I want to play for you this clip, Mario, where he's asked, and this is by Mario's attorney, he's asked, or Monica's attorney, forgive me, Monica's attorney, he's asked why he did the murder. Because we know divorce from Monica and Fabio would have been a far better option. Nobody dies. And I want you to listen to Robert Baker's answer. Here we go.
Eventually, did that become one of the reasons why you decided to murder him?
I murdered him because I wanted her.
Well, you kind of had her already, but not the way you wanted, or what?
Absolutely. I didn't have her the way I wanted her. I wanted to have easier access. I wanted her to be around me and with me. More, like all the time.
Okay, so this is where I get stuck, Mario, because I'm with you. I do believe that he did this, he planned it, he had no qualms about killing poor Fabio. Where I get stuck is that he's saying he did it because he wanted to be with Monica all the time. We know Fabio had a big multi-million-dollar life insurance policy. Mario, do you think, did he lose any credibility with the jurors with that answer?
So, look, the jurors are going to go back and forth on this. The fact that he detailed in depth how he planned the murder and his love for Monica, you could look at this and say he didn't want a divorce because a divorce would still keep Fabio in her life. If I was the attorney, that's what I would play it as, that, Robert Baker wanted to get rid of Fabio so this way he could have Monica all to himself. A divorce doesn't do that. A divorce, he's still going to be in her life. He'll get, she'll get some money, but they still have a child. They have children in common. I believe his daughter actually testified at the trial. So yeah, I still think he's credible. I do.
Mario, thank you for that. Let's play a clip here. This is from The Cross, where we know that Robert Baker has, shall we say, somewhat of a checkered past. We know that he was convicted in a case where he had sexual relations with a minor child, a 15-year-old girl, and he was asked about this on Cross. Let's take a look.
You said you caught a case, right? What kind of case?
It was a lewd and lascivious act with a minor.
One?
It was one person.
One count?
I don't know the counts. I don't know how they got the counts. I just went along with the deal.
Who's Narlin Lopez?
Wow, you're gonna put her name out there like that, huh?
No, you did that by getting up on the stand.
I'm done with this, man. I'm done with this. I'm not trying to bring her up in this.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bring. She's a victim in this. I'm not
Sir, you should have a seat. Right there. Let's see, counsel.
I'm not talking about that case anymore. That has nothing to do with this one.
Your Honor?
I'm done, man. I'm done.
Information that this can be inquired. Please answer the question.
I'm not answering any questions regarding that case. It has nothing to do with this one.
Okay, let's bring in our former prosecutor, Tommy Pope. Tommy, so what do you think here? Was this prosecutor trying to go out of bounds a little bit? I know she was pushing the boundary line there. What do you think of that?
First, I want to apologize for losing you. Mario told me he needed more airtime, and so I wanted to.
Mario took care of it. Don't worry, he held it down.
I think they're trying to push his buttons. You and I talked, maybe even a month ago. It seems like now that normally when I would plead somebody, I would plead them in, but not sentence them to after, so they had something hang over their head to prevent them, from changing their testimony or, undermining the prosecution. In this case, he really has nothing to lose, and so I think they're trying to push his buttons so he can. When he got angry about the other case, I think they're trying to get some reaction to show him, but he seems to be very comfortable on the stand, unfortunately for the prosecution.
Right, Tommy. Yeah, he was prepped well. Mario, what do you think about that? Somebody practiced with him, huh?
Yeah, they practiced with him, but this guy pled guilty to the top count, and the most severe sentence you could get, as Tommy just said, there's nothing hanging over his head. It's like the prosecution didn't even reach out to him and say, hey, look, if you testify for us, although you're looking at life without parole, if you testify truthfully and you say that Monica knew something about it, maybe you will get something less than that. Austin got something less than that. Austin worked out a plea deal. In this case, this guy, pled guilty to the top count and took the sentence he took. You didn't even need a prosecutor in this case. He could have did that with the judge. He could have said, Judge, I'm going to eat this whole indictment, sentence to me what you want. And that's basically what happened here.
Mario, thank you. Tommy, let me go back to you here, please. What do you think the jury's thoughts are not seeing Robert Baker called by the prosecution? We know they called Christopher Austin, the hitman, to Mario's point. That was their star witness. The state star witness was Mr. Austin. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it obviously weakens the case. I think the jury is, the prosecutor's going to have some explaining to do in closing. From watching Baker, I think he's the real deal. I think if he's so in love, as Mario said, he'll take the highest sentence and go with it. I don't know that he's a bastion of truth, but he is dedicated to this woman and willing to follow through with it.
Yeah, I definitely don't think a bastion of truth. I love how you said that, Tommy. Eloquently said. I have a hard time with Robert Baker. I do not believe that Monica didn't know. The surveillance, system in the garage, how in the world, would they know the timing of it? She's at the target. But, who knows? I'm not on that jury, so we'll see what they believe. We have to leave it there for now. I have so many more stories I want to talk to you both about. Tommy Pope, Mario Gallucci, stand by kindly, please. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, here's what's coming up on Opening Statements. My defendant Luigi Mangione's defense fund keeps on growing, close to $1 million. And the person of interest in the spring break disappearance of Sudiksha Kanaki is breaking his silence, talking with investigators. We'll tell you about the latest story that he's sharing.
Grieving widow or mastermind behind a murder.
Monica Sementilli is accused of plotting to kill her husband.
Famed celebrity hairstylist Fabio Sementilli.
Prosecutors say she and her lover killed Fabio to collect a big life insurance policy.
The defense may say she's a bad woman, but she wouldn't be involved in a murder.
It's a whodunit Hollywood story, but will there be a twist that no one sees? The Celebrity Stylist Murder Trial. Today, only on Court TV.
Welcome back. The search for missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Kanaki enters week number 2. The American linked to her case was seen helping the investigation on the beach in Punta Cana. ABC News reporting that Joshua Riibe, along with his attorneys, were spotted pointing toward the sea during a visit to the area where Kanaki allegedly went missing. Questioning of Riibe has been intensifying. He's been maintaining, though, that he and Kanaki were swept out to sea by a big wave. Authorities have not named any suspects. Riibe is just a person of interest. In a transcript obtained by multiple outlets, he told investigators this. He said once he got Kanaki back to the shore, quote, "The last time I saw her, I asked if she was okay. I didn't hear her answer. I looked around and didn't see anyone. I thought she grabbed her things and left." Riibe's passport has been confiscated. We're asking, how long do you believe he'll be detained? Let's bring in our power panel. Want to welcome into the conversation in the studio with me this morning, retired NYPD inspector and the author of the book Once a Cop, Corey Pegues is here. And still with me, attorney and former investigator Tommy Pope and criminal defense attorney Mario Gallucci. Corey, let me begin with you, please. How long do you think they're going to hold on to this guy down there?
Oh, they're going to hold on to him for a little while until they're very sure that he had nothing to do with the case. So we'll stand by and we'll see. But this case is pretty interesting that she just disappears. Clothes left on the beach, 2 or 3 different versions of the story coming from him. From what I understand, I think they took his passport, right?
Right, they sure did.
Yeah, so they're gonna keep grilling him and grilling him.
Right. So this is interesting. It's like he's not free to leave, but he's not under arrest. Mario Gallucci, I'm sure you have some thoughts on this. He's got lawyers as well. What do you think, please?
So he's subject to, a lot of people believe that, he's entitled to all these rights, but he's not in the United States. He's a United States citizen that's in the Dominican Republic. So he's subject to Dominican law. But he's still entitled, I believe, under the Vienna Convention to go to our council and to get an attorney, which he has. And I believe in the Dominican Republic that you do have a right to a counsel. He keeps giving these interviews and they keep asking him questions, and that's a product of a good investigation. You just keep asking question after question, you keep interrogating until they finally, they give you what you want. Or they got so many different stories. Now you nail them down and you say, you told us that you were on the beach. You told us that you went in the water. Then you told us that you left the water. Then you told us you passed out on the water and you woke up and she was gone and took her clothes. But then they found the clothes there. So, the noose is getting a little tighter, I believe, on this young man. Look, it could have been an accident. 2 of them could have wandered on the beach. It looks like they were intoxicated at the time. They went swimming and who knows what happened. But,
right.
It's just...
Right, Mario. Yeah, I didn't mean to step on you there. Yeah, your point about them being intoxicated, that seems to be the case. And we have some new surveillance video that we want to share. This was obtained by CDN Television through the Daily Mail, and it appears to show a look at the bar at the resort where both Kanaki and Riibe were staying. And this was shot before Sudiksha Kanaki went missing. Now, important to note here, Court TV has not independently identified who is seen in the video. We're just going by the reporting from multiple outlets. Multiple outlets reporting that Sudiksha Kanaki can be seen in the video getting sick and vomiting in some bushes and then coming back and rejoining her friends and being excited and kind of jumping up and down. And they're not together. Here's another interesting thing. Sudiksha Kanaki and Joshua Riibe are not together in this video. It seems that they're in separate groups. And again, we're not law enforcement here at Court TV. We haven't analyzed this video with any forensic investigators, but it does appear to show there was a lot of alcohol being consumed that night. We see the swaying in the video that we just reviewed. So very well, could have been accidental, or someone could have done this beautiful young lady harm. Tommy Pope, last but not least, on the point of how long are they going to hang on to Joshua Riibe. What do you think, Tommy? How long do you think they'll keep this guy?
I think I'm with Corey. They're going to keep him as long as they need to. It's an interesting approach. You know, if truly, I mean, they were clearly grossly intoxicated. If you piece together what you just showed us with that walking scene, and again, he ends up ultimately, I think he threw up, he said, because of the water perhaps or something, and sleeps passed out on the beach. There's a lot that could happen during those periods of intoxication, both criminal and innocent enough. And so I don't know why people always think when they're drunk they got to get in the ocean. But, you know, I think they're going to keep him and talk to him, as Mario said, and go over and over to see for discrepancies. But, you know, it's tough. You know, do you not say anything and make them prove it, which it doesn't seem like they got a heck of a lot, you know, to be able that they can prove. But you know, if he really didn't do it and is really trying to be cooperative, that's something a good investigator on the scene will establish to the best of their ability when they're actually looking him in the eye and interrogating him and, you know, looking for falsity or deceit. And so he may get an extended spring break down in the Dominican Republic.
Well said, Tommy. Oh my goodness, you're all making such great points. Let's talk about that. You know, it's a busy time for, you know, spring break in America, you know, and in foreign countries, right? They rely on tourists to come there. That revenue is a great thing for these other countries. There are some reports that other people might have been on the beach when Sudiksha Konaki went missing. Now, we want to show you a timeline of the events of the morning. This is what we do know. Okay, this is what is confirmed. This is based on the hotel surveillance footage. 4:15 a.m., she's last seen on surveillance footage. 4:55, 5 women and 1 man leave the beach, but she's not in the group. 8:55 a.m., Joshua Riibe leaves the beach area, no signs of Sudiksha Konaki. 4 p.m. in the afternoon, her friends report her missing to the hotel staff. Let's talk about what the likelihood is that she encountered someone else on the beach besides Joshua Riibe that could have done her harm. Corey, back to you.
Listen, everything at this point is open. We have a young woman that's missing. We believe, well, they believe that she's deceased at this point. So any and everything is up for grabs. Tommy was talking about the investigation and going over and over the story. The problem is this young man, and I think the panel will agree with me, the more he talks, like if he's really innocent and he really didn't do anything, he almost could jam himself up, Julie, by talking and saying the wrong things, because these investigators are trained investigators, and he could mess up by talking. That's why he gets a lawyer. I think he should keep his mouth shut at this point.
That's a great point. Mario, I'm sure you love that point, even though we can't see. We see the video up there. You are. What do you think?
So the first thing that you get when you call my office is do not speak law enforcement.
On your voicemail, yeah.
It's the first thing that I tell you to do, and yet everybody does it. You know, it's going to be very difficult without a body. You know, without a body, to show what happened to the body, it's going to be very difficult to prove a case against him if he keeps his mouth shut. If they eventually find a body and she's got some sort of injury to her that's consistent with blunt force trauma, which is not related to drowning or hitting a rock, it's an issue. This reminds me a lot of the Natalie Holloway case, where you didn't have a body and it was very difficult to prosecute the brothers. So it's a very similar case. And I agree with the fact that the more he talks, the worse it's going to get. He could talk himself into a conviction.
Great points. Tommy Pope, would you take us home, please? Your thoughts on whether it's likely that she encountered someone else who may have done her harm in some way. And also, I'd love to close the program with any advice you have, Tommy, for any Buddy, who's got kids heading on spring break right now, anything we can be thinking about as we're hoping for the best result here in Sudiksha Konaki's case?
Sure, Julie. For starters, I would say, you know, I'm such a Boy Scout, but I agree with both these guys. You really don't talk, even though I always think, why wouldn't you talk? Truth will set you free. But I'm learning in my older age, maybe sometimes it is better to get a lawyer and keep your mouth shut. But I think this is a prime example, and unfortunately, we saw it here in Columbia, South Carolina, with an Uber driver, guy pretending to be an Uber driver, picks up a girl and takes her out and assaults her. I think the advice I would give is the buddy system probably ×4. In other words, you want 3 or 4 friends. You know, I'm excited. My daughter KK is in 80 Pi, and they travel in packs. You know that, Julie.
Yes, so, I'm 80 Pi, like your beautiful KK.
I like that they travel in groups, but you be assigned somebody, so it doesn't matter how drunk I get, I know I'm not supposed to leave without Corey and Mario, no matter what. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. You know, they're going to have fun. There's okay. You got to trust your buddy to not leave, kind of the military, no man left behind. Do not leave, you know, because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon the next day before they think to report it. Where if, you know, she was gone at 4 in the morning, somebody, no matter how drunk they were, could have gotten law enforcement involved then.
Yes, great points. Tommy, thank you so much for that. And Corey Pegues, I've got him in the studio with me all morning. We promised a segment for social media today with some more safety tips coming your way. We'll leave the case there for now, but continue following the case of missing Sudiksha Konaki as the days roll on. Still to come here on Opening Statements. Here's what we've got.
What are you doing? And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience.
Luigi Mangione's defense team continues fighting to exclude some of what they call illegally seized evidence. We'll discuss. And could we see Jordan Henning taking the stand today? This is in the military wife murder trial. What can he possibly say that could help him in this case? We'll talk about what could tip the scales.
What are you doing? And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience.
This morning, we're spotlighting the case against the United Healthcare CEO murder case suspect, Luigi Mangione. His defense team has found a motion to exclude evidence seized by police. The defense arguing that Mangione's arrest in Pennsylvania involved a series of unlawful actions by the Altoona Police Department. They argue that the officers lacked critical verification of the tip that Luigi was illegally detained before he was cuffed and informed of his arrest, and that officers allegedly searched his backpack without a warrant. Among the evidence, the defense is seeking to exclude a red notebook labeled manifesto. Ugh. The latest filing by the defense comes after Mangione's official defense fund reportedly received its largest contribution yet, a mystery donor giving $36,500, bringing the grand total to over $738,000. Wow. Okay, so his defense team is claiming that these procedural missteps, according to them, it's only his defense team saying that they're missteps, tainted the case evidence, and so they're pushing for him to be given bail. I don't think that's going to happen. His next hearing's coming up next Wednesday in New York. Let's talk about this case some more. Still with me in the studio, Corey Pegues and remotely attorney Mario Gallucci. Okay, so let's start with the tip. Apparently, police and PA get this tip that a guy that looks like the guy on the surveillance video is eating at the McDonald's, and police approach him. So, Corey, I take it from there. What can police and what can't they do at that point if they look at the guy for themselves and think, oh, this is our guy?
Yeah, that's just gumshoe police work. That's what we do all the time. You get a tip, you go, especially, we're talking about an international manhunt at this point. This was a cold-blooded killing on video for the world to see, and everyone is nervous and scared because the guy pretty much just disappeared. Yeah, they get the tip. They go down, they verify who it is. Yeah, he's getting the bracelets, that's it. But I understand the defense attorney, he's fighting for his client. Dan will talk about that, he's fighting for his client. That's what they do. You throw everything against the wall and see what stick to try to get him out. But sorry for the defense, but I don't think this guy's getting out of jail.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, and then we don't want to forget the victim in this case, Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO. I mean, this was just so blatant, so brazen, and we see this showing of support for this suspect that is massive, massive. Mario Gallucci, what do you think about this? If you're the defense attorney representing Luigi Mangione, are you encouraged to the point that you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to go try this case, I think I might win it?
So, first of all, I love this case. I mean, there's no better client than Mario and Luigi. It's just unbelievable. It's made for TV. But look, as a defense attorney, we attack. And, you know, you attack the stop. Did they have the right to stop him? You attack the search. Did they have the right to search him? You attack the arrest. Did they have the right to arrest him? So what his defense attorneys are doing is exactly what they're supposed to do. You know, he was stopped in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Did they have the right to stop him? They had a tip. Who gave the tip? What information was in that tip? They searched him. Did they search him for their own safety? Why did they have to search the backpack? I don't see any, you know, there's something called an inventory search. Do you need a warrant to search that bag? I'm more concerned about the bag than the search of his person, because they could remove the bag from him and be safe. The search of his person allows them to make sure that the officers arresting him are now safe. So, you know, I agree with the fact that, you know, as a defense attorney, it's attack. I also agree that he's not going anywhere.
Right.
He's not getting out on bail.
Yeah, well said, Mario. You know, and I want to take what you said a step further. This is great. This is like what you'd see on a law school problem. This really is the search. So for our Corey's at home, who I know love this, Corey, so walk me through. So, you know as a police officer, this guy is armed, right? If he is the guy, looks like the guy, the tipster says we think he's the guy. As an officer, you're thinking, okay, I got to toss him, right? I got to see if he's got the gun on his person. Right. If you toss him and there's no gun, at that point, do you do what Mario said? Do you set that backpack aside? Do you take that backpack, keep it with you? What is the most practical thing to do at that point if you're a police officer?
So the street version is you're going for the bag. Mario knows that. The street version, you're going for the bag. Yeah. Technically, like he says, listen, safety, the search is the body search. And if you had a really sharp cop like Mario knows, they say, grab the bag, safeguard the bag, and now let's get the warrant. But given the high profile of this case, even if the search might not have been textbook, I don't think Mario, they're gonna get rid of this gun.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Mario, do you think, I mean, could it be that they could potentially, they're looking to suppress the manifesto. I'm not sure where the gun, or if they even recovered the gun. Now that I'm thinking back, it's been a minute. I got to refresh my memory on the facts. I don't know that we know they recovered the spent cartridge casings that were engraved. We know that much. But the manifesto is what this defense motion is focused on. This manifesto that was in the backpack, which this manifesto, let's be honest, I mean, this is just horrible for Luigi Mangione. If this comes in, unless we have some jury nullification going on, apparently this is really, really bad and lays us all out. Mario, do you think, let's say it's just the manifesto that's in the backpack, and Do you think it's possible it could be suppressed for the mere fact that this officer or these officers did not get a warrant before going in there?
So, look, I agree with Corey. I doubt it's going to be suppressed. The right way to have done this was to search him, make sure that there's nothing on him that's going to hurt you. Now you have him in handcuffs. Now you would voucher that backpack for safekeeping and possibly evidence. And then you would go to if law enforcement should speak to a prosecutor and say, in Altoona, Pennsylvania, do you think we need a search warrant for this? But there's always an inventory search. An inventory search is a search that they do like of your car. If you're driving and you committed a crime and they take your car back to the precinct, they do an inventory search to make sure that you don't claim when you get your car back that I had, $50,000 in cash underneath the passenger seat. That's to protect you. So they could always claim that the reason they searched that bag was an inventory search to make sure that in the future, Luigi Mangione's defense attorneys or he doesn't say that, I had stuff in that bag that's now missing.
Really great points, Mario and Corey. Excellent points. And I wanted to remind myself, I was thinking they did recover that. They did. So it was the ghost gun, right? It was made with a 3D printer. And apparently that was in his possession. The reporting I see just found on him. So we'll have to leave it there for now. But lots more to be determined in this case as we're just in the early pretrial stages, as you both know. And he's got 3 cases, a state one and a federal one in New York and the one in state court in Pennsylvania. Oh, Mario Gallucci, we've got to say goodbye to you for now. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You got your green tie to wear to court. Thank you for all the great insight. We'll see you soon. Corey's coming along with me as our show rolls on. Coming up next, we're talking about defendant Jordan Henning. Could this guy take the stand in the military wife murder trial?
You're on a mission to convict this guy. That's what...
He convicted himself. There's video. He's convicted himself.
You are ensuring, trying to his conviction.
No,
that's
what I want these people, and I know you might not have a heart and understand, but everybody else in this room, I want them to understand the impact that he has had and his actions has had on so many people. That's what I want.
You feel that?
The NWSL is on Ion.
Yeah, I feel it. It's game time. Let's go!
Lace them up. We're hitting up all your favorite clubs.
Showing off a little skill now.
The new Saturday Night Out is on Ion all season long. Find Ion wherever you watch.
Ion, it's on.
Now, for what's tipping the scales of justice, we're waiting to see if the defendant in the military wife murder trial will take the stand. Friday, the jury saw video of the moments leading up to the shooting of Ashley Henning, as she and her husband, Jordan, were arguing in their kitchen after Ashley's birthday party. Things escalated quickly. Absolutely horrific what's seen in that video. And Henning could be seen crying in front of the jury while that video was being played. So what is testifying going to do for him? When we heard that 911 call before seeing the video, he talks a lot about how he's the victim of abuse, right? Saying he's been abused by his wife for years and just couldn't take it anymore. Then you see the video, and it paints a very different picture. Can he say anything that can help himself today? Let's talk about that. I want to bring back in attorney and lawmaker Tommy Pope. Okay, Tommy, what do you think this guy? About this guy? Do you think that it could potentially help him in some way to try to get up there and say something?
I think you nailed it, Julie. What's he got to lose? You know, I mean, after that video, I mean, the jury's been judging him, looking at him, even though he's cloaked in innocence until proven guilty. That's pretty straightforward. And I mean, I hate to say it, but the whole party, I'm sure there was drinking. It's the recipe for every domestic argument, you know, whether it's you embarrassed me or you talked to me in front of me, you know, and it spirals downward. I mean, and I'll tell you, it looked like maybe the gun jammed at the end and he had to go back and rechamber or something when he comes toward the camera, though. But I don't know what he could possibly say to get out from under conviction. I mean, maybe some kind of mitigation going toward ultimately sentencing of some type of remorse. But, you know, I always tell you how, you know, you try to hang one juror on the defense side, and I don't see how you get one juror from what I've seen.
Excellent points. And Tommy, you're so sharp. We love you on Court TV. You know, I haven't heard anybody else say that about the gun, because so many of us are just horrified at what we see, how he shoots. I believe it's 4 shots, if my ears are serving me right. He gets off 4 and then it stops, and then he goes and there's the reloading and he comes back and shoots again. That's interesting that maybe the gun jammed. But even if it did, okay, Tommy, walk me through this. So let's say it stops right there. If this is like heat of passion, like the gun then would have stopped him, right? But yet he keeps going. Does that sink him?
The best creative argument I could make, and, you know, I always told you I'd never use my superpowers for defense work, but the best creative argument I could take, if somehow he was intimidated by her, afraid of her, whatever, the reason he had to clear and had to go away from her was feared that he had not eliminated the threat. You know, again, this is a stretch, but you know what I mean? This shows that he's afraid of her. He has to go and rechamber near the front door to make sure he was out of her reach.
That's an interesting argument. Tommy, thank you for that. I have a clip from his defense counsel talking about how he was afraid of her, had been abused by her. Let's take a look.
There was physical abuse in the marriage and had been for years, grabbing of the testicles to the point where he was in pain. Mental abuse, you're worth nothing, you're nothing at all, you're useless, you're worthless, you're not a man. It was day after day, year after year, you're nothing. He had a condition where he had to take testosterone, and there were repeated remarks. You're less than a man.
Okay. Tommy, you know, if he has some information to offer about the prior abuse that he says he experienced, maybe that's enough of a reason to get up there today.
I think he's going to have some corroboration. I just think him saying it's not enough. You know, we always say, you know, what everybody sees of our personal life is like your highlight reel. You know, we see the Pope smiling going to church. We didn't see Tommy yelling at everybody to get in the car so we'd go worship Jesus. You know, you miss those parts. But if you've got some inside friends that could say that, I mean, it could give it a little bit of traction. But, you know, there's another strange dynamic. That's my understanding. She was ranked higher than him. I mean, I hate to say it in our society in this day, but, you know, I see it with spouses where the wife makes more than the husband, and sometimes there's a weird dynamic there. So there's probably a piece of that, too.
Right, Tommy. I think you're spot on that there may have been a bit of a power struggle or him feeling inadequate, perhaps in more than one area.